Today we kick off our mid-season re-rank of the 2024 Mariners farm system with prospects 30 through 21. Colby, hit it.
You are Locked On Mariners, your daily Seattle Mariners podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Ahoy, sailors. It is Wednesday, August 14th, 2024. This is Tai Cummings and Colby Patnode for the Locked On Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So I assume you don't want to hear us talk about last night's game. So instead, we're going to kick off our mid-season re-rank of the Mariners farm system with prospects 30 through 21. But before we do that, shout out to our title sponsor today, PrizePicks. It's the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Go to prizepicks.com/Locked On MLB and use the promo code Locked On MLB. That's all lowercase for a first deposit match up to $100. And if you want to hear from me and Colby even more and help support the show, check out our Patreon. The link is in the description and you can sign up for a free 7-day trial. So been quite a bit of turnover in this farm system since the last time we did this. Obviously, draft has happened, trade deadline where the Mariners traded some significant prospect capital. And you're going to see that and then some on this episode because only one of these guys that we're going to be talking about today was ranked the last time we did this prospect ranking. So for those of you that don't know how this works here on the Locked On Mariners podcast, when we do our prospect rankings, Colby and I create separate lists. We create our own personal lists. Then we combine those two lists into one essentially master list using a points-based system. So if you're watching on YouTube, when we put the graphics up, you're going to see their master ranking. And you're also going to see where they ranked on my list, where they ranked on Colby's list, all that good stuff. So I think that's everything that I wanted to go over. Oh, yeah. So schedule wise, so we're going to do 30 through 21 today. Tomorrow, we're going to do a post-game show after the Mariners Tigers series finale. Friday, I believe we're going to do prospects 20 through 11. Then we're going to do Mailbag Monday on Monday, of course. And then we'll probably wrap this thing up with prospects 10 through 1 on Tuesday. And we'll let you guys know if we have to rearrange that at all. All right, let's get into the top 30. And we're going to start with number 30. It's Ricardo Kocab, infielder / outfielder who just made his way to Modesto, 20 years old. He made my list, not Colby's. And you'll see that quite a bit here in the first 5 or so guys that we talk about. They wound up on one of our lists, but not the other. And this time, Kocab is one of my guys that landed on my list. Now, he's a little dude, right? He's 5'8". I think Fangraphs has him listed at $145. So he's got some growing to do, but he's crushed it down in the complex league. Earned himself Mariners Minor Leaguer of the Month honors in July and call up to Modesto. It's only been about 10 or so games. He's really struggled down there, but again, 10 or so games, really a really small sample size. Kocab's a guy that has played some outfield. He can play some second. He can play some third. Highly athletic dude that can make some things happen on the base pass, can put the ball in play. But again, the fact that he's so little is a bit concerning, but I like his profile a little bit more than, the Spencer Packards of the world. I'm going with more upside here than probability on this front. And that's kind of what you have to balance here, especially on the back end of this top 30 is like, what do you prefer more, path to the big leagues or upside? And so with the Kocab pick, I like what he's doing right now. Kind of going with a hot hand a little bit as well. So yeah, you have any thoughts on Kocab?
No, he's just, like you said, the size is a legitimate concern. He hasn't produced at any level above the complex league. To be fair, he's only gotten 10 games above the complex league, but
he's only 20
years. Right. He's 20 years old. The versatility is going to help. And obviously we know that you don't necessarily have to be a, even average sized person to be a really good professional baseball player, but the size is impactful and it obviously limits power upside and stuff like that. So I just, to me, I look at him and I go, that's a very narrow path to the big leagues. And so for me, he wasn't one of the guys that I would really consider all that much for the top 30. He's certainly interesting because obviously, the Mariners think somewhat highly of him. But yeah, for me, it's just kind of, we'll wait and see if he shows up next year and he's, 5'8" and he's like $165 or something like that. And he goes to Modesto and he hits, then we can start having a conversation. But for now, it's just a little too early for me to put him on kind of list.
So coming in at number 29 is another one of my guys. He ranked 27th for me, didn't make Colby's list. Brock Rhoen, pretty athletic dude. I think he's best suited for second base, but has handled third a little bit as well. He's 24 years old, crushed it down in high A, earned himself a call up to Arkansas. Hasn't particularly gone well for him. It's been about 30 or so games for him down there. So it's possible that maybe he's hit a brick wall there. We'll see. But this is a guy that, again, puts the ball in play a lot, doesn't strike out, walks, switch hitter, can play decent defense, just kind of does all the little things right. And to me, that screams like someone that's at least going to get a call up to the bigs at some point in his professional baseball playing career. So again, weighing upside and path to the big leagues, upside and probability. And this time I'm kind of going with more probability. I think Rhoen is going to at least get a shot at the big leagues. I don't know if he'll stick, but he seems like one of those guys that's, your prototypical 25th, 26th man.
Yeah. New Sam Haggerty drop.
Right.
It's pretty much the same idea. Pretty good athlete, can steal some bags. He's a pretty good base stealer.
Mm-hmm.
Does have, some more pop than I think people seem to think he does based on his profile. He's also a smaller guy. He's 5'7", 5'8".
I think he hit 17 home runs in his last season in college.
Yeah.
I'd be wrong on that.
This year he's got 14.
Yeah.
Now my thing with Rhoen,
mm-hmm.
Is that he's 24 years old in AA. So
mm-hmm.
It's not like he's not necessarily old for AA, but he was an older college draftee when they took him last
and he's
year.
struggling there. And he's struggling there too. Like the strikeout percentage has gone up significantly. It went up it was 18.4% in high A. It's jumped up to 29.7% in AA. The walks have also gone significantly down, just 5.8% from 13.5% in high A. And he's only slashing 190, 242, 359 again as a 24-year-old in AA in 39 games. So that's yeah. So you do wonder if he's kind of, again, like I said, if he's kind of hit the brick wall.
Right. Next year will be a huge year for him. It'll be his age 25 season. And he's got to start making some waves. He's got to get to AAA and threaten, major league, major league playing time if he's going to, have a career. Because right now he just kind of seems like an older 20s, minor leaguer who has some interesting tools, but you have to produce at some point. So he's certainly, on my consideration list, but the numbers in Arkansas and obviously the age certainly play their factor in why he's not on my list.
So coming in at number 28 is one of Colby's guys. He came in at number 27 on Colby's list. It's Carlos Jimenez, outfielder down in low A, 21 years old. Why do you like Jimenez, Colby?
Yeah, he's a fun little profile. He lefty, 5'10", about $170. So again, another smaller guy, but obviously slightly taller frame. A lot of average or above average tools here. Pretty good hitter. Power, we'll wait and see. That's kind of the question mark right now on Jimenez. Good runner, solid average arm. He right now can play center field. There's really no reason to suspect that he won't be able to play center field, at least at an average clip going forward. And he's producing. He started out in the complex league, but he went to Modesto, and now he's 40 games in, and he's hitting 311, 395, 491 down in Modesto. So he does a lot of little things right. He's probably just a fourth outfielder, but he makes pretty good contact. There is some pop there. He plays good defense, can play all three outfield spots. Average arm, can steal a handful of bags. It's probably more likely than not. I mean, he's 21 years old, right? So, it's not like he's 18, crushing Modesto. So he'll be 22 next year. He's probably going to have to do really well in Everett to maintain his spot. But, I kind of look at him and I go, that there's some Ben Gamel in this profile here. And Ben Gamel is the type of player that I really like. So lefty left, it's a pretty nice swing. I think he's going to make enough contact. I think the pop will be just enough, probably not enough to be an everyday player, but then he can also play all three outfield spots. He can run a little bit, decent base runner. So I think there's a lot of tools here for the Mariners to work with. And I think this is the type of guy, the type of profile that Mariners player development can get to really pop, going forward. And he's 21 years old. So not a ton of time, but not no time. He'd probably be higher if he was 19 or 20. But he's been 21 since February. So been 21 all year. And he just now got to Modesto.
All right, we're going to continue our prospect rankings, prospects 30 through 21 in the Mariners farm system in just a moment. But first, a reminder, this episode of the Locked On Mariners podcast is brought to you by Liquid IV and once again, PrizePicks. I think most of us can agree that there is nothing better than enjoying an ice cold beverage on a hot summer day at the ballpark. So when you're taking in America's pastime, don't forget to hydrate with Liquid IV's Popsicle Firecracker flavor, a surefire summer hit. Get hydrated with electrolytes, essential vitamins, and clinically tested nutrients from the #1 powdered hydration brand in America. Because baseball and summer go together like Liquid IV and indulgent hydration. Pour, live more. One stick plus 16 ounces of water hydrates better than water alone. No more thirsty summers when you indulge in hydration with Liquid IV. Get 20% off your first order of Liquid IV when you go to liquidiv.com and use the promo code MLB at checkout. That's 20% off your first order when you shop Better Hydration today using promo code MLB at liquidiv.com. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. You can turn $10 into $1,000. PrizePicks is available in more than 30 states across the country, including California, Texas, and Georgia. This Saturday, PrizePicks is giving you a free pick. Take Israel Adesanya to get more than 0.5 significant strikes in his title fight at UFC 305. It's free money. Download the PrizePicks app today and use the promo code LOCKEDONMLB for a first deposit match up to $100. That's promo code LOCKEDONMLB on PrizePicks for a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast. Tonight, you can catch all the action between the Mariners and the Tigers on the Mariners hometown broadcast of SiriusXM via the SXM app. All you have to do to find that is search the word Mariners. But today, we are not talking about the current Mariners team. We're talking about the potential future Mariners. Ranking prospects 30 through 21 in the M's farm system. We just did 30, 29, and 28. And now, coming in at number 27 is right-handed pitcher Cole Phillips, who the Mariners, of course, acquired in the Jared Kelenic, Marco Gonzalez, Evan White deal with the Atlanta Braves this past offseason. 21 years old, of course, has undergone Tommy John surgery for the second time already in his life. He is likely not going to have a chance to pitch a full season in his professional career until 2026, folks. That's why he didn't make my list, but Colby has him at 25 still. Why do you believe in Cole Phillips still to put him in your top 30?
It's a little bit of hopeful thinking. But when he was drafted, it was a plus fastball. It was an above average slider and a pretty good changeup, and a guy who threw a lot of strikes. He's 6'3", 200 pounds. Like, he has the prototypical build. He already has plus fastball value. At least the last time he pitched, he did. We'll wait and see. So this is all projection here, but like, the guy's raw stuff is some of the best in the system, or it was, and now we'll have to see how he adjusts. So, it's really, just kind of a lottery ticket at this point, but I like the raw stuff. I like that he was throwing strikes as a high school kid when he was drafted repeatedly. He's got the good frame. He's got the plus fastball, and the slider and changeup both flashed above average when he was last healthy. So, it's a bit of a gamble here, and certainly the injury risk, makes it totally understandable why he wouldn't be in somebody's top 30. But to me, the upside here is so great that I'm willing to stick it out and see. But obviously him not being able to pitch, I don't even know if he's going to pitch next year. Probably not until July at the earliest. But there is still a tremendous amount of upside with Phillips, and he's 21 years old, so
Hmm.
there's still a shot here, and we'll see what he looks like coming off of Tommy John, but yeah, I like the arm. I think this is a solid solid high mid leverage type of arm at the worst, assuming he can stay healthy at some point, which is a big assumption. But the stuff was really, really good when he was drafted.
So coming in at number 26 is Tai Cummings, right-handed pitcher, draftee in 2023 for the Mariners. Has been in high A the whole season at 22 years old. He ranked 25 on my list. Colby did not have him ranked. The thing that I like the most about Cummings, and what immediately jumps out to you when you watch him pitch, is it's an easy, repeatable delivery. It's a pretty good sinker. The slider, if you look at MILB Mariners on Twitter, you'll see some pretty good sliders from Tai Cummings. He's missed a good amount of bats, 9.48 Ks per nine this season. He sustained that over nearly 100 innings pitched down in Everett. Like I said, pretty good slider. Sinker's kind of got that bowling ball effect that sits mid-90s. Perhaps there's potential to add more velocity there. Maybe if you transition him into a bullpen role, which, as we say with pretty much all of these fringy pitching prospects, is the likeliest outcome. All right, so now we're at the point in these rankings where Colby and I are a bit more aligned. Ashton Izzy comes in here at number 25, right-handed pitcher down in low A at 20 years old. Colby had him ranked 24th on his list. I have him ranked 26th on mine. What do you like about Izzy, Colby?
Yeah, good size. He's 6'3". He's about $170, $175. So there's still actually room for him to get stronger, add more muscle, add more good weight. Fastball's already, in the low to mid 90s. He touches 97. It's a pretty decent slider there as well. And he's posting right now in Modesto. He's made 21 starts. He has a 2.98 ERA. The thing with him and why he's not higher, he's not missing a ton of bats. And the control and command is it's iffy at best. So he's having some issues throwing strikes. But again, he's a pretty good athlete. He's a good size. There's still room to add more strength, which means the fastball velo should still, tick up, and it still should play up. You can sharpen up the slider a little bit as well. And so if you can just get him to throw more strikes, get a little more velo on him, which again, his profile suggests you should be able to do, then you might have a number 4 starter here. And I think at worst, you probably have a mid-high leverage type of arm. So he's interesting. Again, he's one of the guys with a lot of other guys where it's like, if he takes a half a step back at the beginning of next year, he's not on our list. If he takes a half steps forward next year, he might be top 15. So, he's just he's still a lump of clay. He's still, young. He's 20. He'll be 20 until November. So there's a decent shot he starts next year in Everett and at 21 years old with a chance to really, ascend quickly. But yeah, it's really for him right now. It's about command and control is his biggest issue.
Coming in at number 24 is another right-handed pitcher, Tyler Guff, who is also in Modesto right now, 21 years old. Really filled out physically, 6'2", 205. It's a nice build. It's more command control over stuff, though the command control hasn't really been there.
He just turned 21 2 days ago. And like you said, he's already a good size, good build. There's probably not much projection left on that. So really it's going to come down to, do either of his breaking balls take off? Because right now, fastballs, fringe average, changeup, pretty good changeup, according to the reports. So either he needs to find more velo, he needs to sit 90, 93, 94, 95 instead of 91, 92, or he needs to sharpen up either the curveball or the slider. Neither of those pitches are quite major league quality. And even if he does that, he still needs to throw a few more strikes. He's not doing a terrible job in terms of, command and control, but it's not great. It's about 4.5 walks per 9. Like that's not going to fly with the stuff he has, but he is missing some, a good number of bats along the way. So overall, it's a pretty solid season for Guff, and he is young, but there's not a lot of projection left. So he's going to have to, either get stronger and, kind of speed up his delivery and get a little more violent with the delivery to find more fastball velo, or he's really going to have to sharpen up the breaking stuff, because what he is right now, it's Reed Van Scoter. from the right side. It's just like, in an emergency, I guess you can call him up for a spot start, but not much of a prospect.
All right, so we have a trio of 2024 draftees coming up here to wrap up the first 10 of our 2024 midseason Mariners prospect re-rank. Go over those in just a moment, but first, a reminder, this episode of the Locked On Mariners podcast is brought to you by Ibata and eBay Motors. Are you taking that dream vacation this summer but dreading the cost? With Ibata, you get cash back on all of your purchases so you can spend more time making memories this summer and less time dreaming about them. Ibata is a free app that lets you earn cash back every time you shop. Earn on hundreds of items from groceries to beauty supplies, even toys, so you can make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. You can save on over 2,400 brands and shop at over 1,000 retailers, including your favorite grocery stores, Lowe's, Macy's, Sephora, Best Buy, and a whole lot more. Right now, Ibata is offering our listeners $5 just for trying Ibata by using the promo code LOCKEDONMLB when you register. Just go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download the free Ibata app to start earning cash back by using the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. That's IBOTTA in the Google Play or App Store and the promo code LOCKEDONMLB. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. And with over 122 million parts to choose from, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. With eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into an MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Again, that is ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast. Tonight, you can catch all the action between the Mariners and the Tigers on the Mariners hometown broadcast with SiriusXM via the SXM app. All you have to do to find that is search the word Mariners. And we are wrapping up the first 10 prospects of our 2024 midseason re-rank of the Mariners farm system. And we have a trio of 2024 draftees to wrap things up here. We're going to start coming in at number 23, Brock Moore, 24 years old, hasn't pitched yet in the pros, but Colby and I are in agreement here. We both had him ranked 23rd on our list. What do you like about Brock Moore, Colby?
Yeah, it's big stuff. He's also a really good size right now. He's 6'6", about 230, 240, and it's big stuff. Fastball that's up to 101. It sits 98, 99 miles per hour. It's a big sweeping slider that should generate a ton of swing and miss. I don't think that we should give up on him necessarily starting down the line. You know, the Mariners have had some luck where they've drafted guys that have immediately been tagged as, relievers, and then we're going to start them, and they've performed, and the Mariners are good at this. So I think when you look at kind of the lump of clay that you're getting here with Moore, huge fastball value, really good slider already, throws enough strikes. There's also a feel that the changeup is, is a legitimate third pitch here. So there's the three pitches you need. He's got the size you need. Can he throw enough strikes? Well, he's really athletic. He's a good athlete for his size. So to me, I look at this and I go like, hey, there's probably a floor of a good relief type of arm. Like the floor is probably, I don't know, like Ryan Stanek. Sure. But I think there's actual upside here. And I don't think it's completely out of the realm of possibility that he can start. And I think the Mariners might try and see if he can, just like they did with Brody Hopkins, just like they did with Bryce Miller. So I do think that, while it's easy to look at Brock Moore and say, oh, that's a reliever, with his fastball and his slider already plus, and the changeup he shows good feel for the changeup, and his size, I'm not so sure that the Mariners aren't looking at Brock Moore and thinking like, hey, this could be a dude, that another find that we get on day two, and we put him in the rotation. We get our hands on him, and all of a sudden, in a couple of years, he's like, oh yeah, Brock Moore's like the number 6 prospect in this good system because he's throwing a ton of strikes and there's just insane fastball value there.
Coming in at number 22 is the Mariners' 4th round draft pick out of NC State. It's Josh Caron, catcher, now in Low A Modesto, 21 years old. And Colby and I both had him ranked 22, and he winds up 22 on the master list.
So very similar profile to Tom Murphy and also Blake Hunt. So the Mariners appear to have a type for backup catcher. Caron throws really well. He's kind of a fringe average pitch framer and blocker. But those are things that you can clean up and we'll see if he can hit for any kind of average, but the power is legit. It's pull power. So, the idea that he can, in a couple of years, he can be the guy who, by the way, he's pretty young. He just turned 21.
Yeah.
So even though he was a college draftee, he was just turned 21 about 2 weeks ago. So he is an interesting guy. There's a chance he develops into an everyday catcher. But I do feel like he is very solidly going to be a good backup, maybe even a 1B type of catcher who can throw some guys out, hit some home runs, and then we'll see, what the strikeouts look like, how much contact he can make. But yeah, I mean, to me, that's Tom Murphy, right? Like that's Blake Hunt. Like that's the idea. Sure. And it's not surprising that the Mariners would continue to target this type of profile, particularly, when you start to think about like, who do we pair with Cal Raleigh that makes the most sense? Preferably a guy who mashes left-handed pitching and hits for power so that Cal can continue to hit from his stronger side.
And then coming in at number 21 to wrap up our day here, Hunter Cranton, the Mariners' 3rd round pick, right-handed pitcher. We have seen him throw a couple of innings down in Modesto already, 23 years old. Colby had him ranked 19 on his list. I had him ranked 21. That's where he ends up here on the master list. He's got some big stuff as well, like Brock Moore, and he seems like someone that maybe as early as next year could be a part of the Mariners bullpen, right?
Yeah. I'd say so. He's a college senior, so it was a like a money saving type of thing, but this is a guy who's probably a big leaguer. Honestly, he might be able to survive in the big leagues right now if you really needed him to. It's a huge fastball. It's up to 101, 102. 38 strikeouts and 25 innings in college this year. It's a pretty good slider. Throws a good amount of strikes as well. So this is actually a really nice arm that Seattle got as a money saver. It's the money. They did this once before when they went huge oversaw in round 2, but the guy they drafted in the 3rd round, it was Wyatt Mills. Cranton's not that. Like he is a legit like high upside reliever profile, and again 101 with a wipeout slider, throws a lot of strikes already. There's obviously some things to clean up, but I would not be shocked at all if Cranton was in the big leagues next year. Despite just being drafted a few months ago. And I wouldn't be shocked really at all if that happened to happen in like May, like early. He's going to get on the fast track as long as he throws enough strikes because the stuff is huge and it is, legitimate like closer type of stuff. It's just a matter of, obviously, does he have a feel for the moment and does he throw enough strikes and all that little stuff. But stuff-wise, he can most certainly be a high leverage reliever and that has value. A lot of value. So I really like that pick when Seattle made it. And I think this guy is going to be a big leaguer before the end of next year. Pretty confident in that.
That is going to do it for our show. But before we get out of here, a reminder that Locked On has launched the first ever national sports 24/7 streaming channel on YouTube. And now it's also available on Amazon Fire TV and the free Fire TV channels app. Locked On Sports Today is here for you 24/7, covering the top sports stories of the day with the local experts of Locked On, plus our national shows covering every league. Find Locked On Sports Today now available on the free Fire TV channels app. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Locked On Mariners podcast. For Colby Patnode, I'm Tai Gonzalez. Be sure to give us a follow on Twitter at @LO_Mariners. You can follow me at Tai Gonzalez and Colby at CPAT11. That's CPAT11. You can also find all that stuff in the description of this episode. Now head on over to Locked On Seahawks to get all the latest out of training camp. Get ready for the second game of the preseason against the Titans on Saturday. From Corbin Smith and the gang, and tell them Tai and Colby sent you. Have yourself a beautiful baseball day, and we'll see you next time. Peace.